So this February we've seen loads of new blowers launched out at MWC 2024, but one of the spangliest has to be the Techno Pova 6 Pro 5G. It's a 6.8-inch palm filler boasting sparkly show-off design, an almighty 6000 mAh battery, proper bit of gaming chops, the works. So let's whip this budget-friendly behemoth out the box, check out the gaming, the camera, all that good stuff, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do plug subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! And just in case you suddenly decide you can't be asked to watch the video, there's all the specs. But what else do you get in that box besides the Pova 6 Pro 5G? Well, you've got an extra month's warranty, which to be fair, if something's going to break, it'll probably be in month 13. Boring user manual guff. Got a chunky old 70-watt Techno adapter, USB cable, and Techno has even kindly bundled a pair of classic old-school earphones. It's the hard shell kind that shaves a layer of skin off your ear canal when you bung them in there, but still better than out. And yes, they are the 3.5mm kind because you do actually have a headphone jack here on the Pova 6 Pro. And last up in that box, our great mate, the condom case to keep your Pova 6 Pro safe from harm. And that right there, chums, is the box, so let's check out the phone. Alright, so here in all of its glory is the Techno Pova 6 Pro 5G. Pretty clunky name, but hopefully the phone will be better. Like most modern mobiles, it is a 6.8 incher, so certainly don't expect anything particularly hand-friendly. But hey, at least that screen pretty much fills the front end. There's no massive Jimmy Hill chin, reasonably skinny bezels. And it's your typical iPhone-esque flat edges. But at least you do have slightly curved corners, so it's not too uncomfortable to clutch. And I don't think anyone will be massively shocked when I say that it's an all-plastic frame, plastic edges, and a placky arse. This right here is the Comet Green model. Are Comets actually green? I don't know, you'll have to ask the ex-D-Ream guy, Brian Cox. But if this lush green hue is too exciting for you, well, you can also grab the Pova 6 Pro in Meteorite Grey. Bit of a space theme, as usual. And as you can probably already tell, that back end already getting quite mucky and smudgy, even though I haven't exactly been handling it that long. You'll want to keep a cleaning cloth or something handy just to give it a quick buffing up every now and then, so it doesn't look too mank. But as you can see there, quite a glitzy back end with the chipboard style design, and you may have noticed the flashing LEDs. There's actually a grand total of 210 LEDs hidden away in the Pova 6 Pro's arse. This right here is the party mode, which I don't know about you, but I'm definitely down to disco. And naturally you can program these and use them as notifications lights for your incoming calls, your messages. Have them keep to the beat when you're blasting your tunes. You've got a small selection of presets you can choose between, but sadly you can't program them to flash in specific ways for certain contacts. It's either people you know and people you don't. So yeah, I'm definitely getting budget gaming phone vibes here. And basically you'll love it or you won't. I can't see anyone being on the fence with this one. Now in the briefing materials, Techno didn't mention anything about Gorilla Glass to help protect that display, but luckily you do have a pre-installed screen protector on there. Of course, you've got that condom case bundled in the box, and this phone is IP53 dust and splash resistant. Now, when you want to actually use your Pova 6 Pro, you've got an in-display fingerprint sensor to wake the bugger up. As you would expect, it's a basic optical effort, but it seems to do the job as long as your mitts aren't grubby or sticky or anything. And this is backed by a usually quite reliable bit of face unlock action, if not quite as secure as that fingerprint sensor. Occasionally foiled by a bit of backlighting or something like that. And yeah, quite the variety of always-on displays, including of course the obligatory cute pet action. Unfortunately, not actually always on as the name suggests. You do have to tap the screen or raise the phone in order to wake it up. And that's just one of the quirks of HiOS, which sits on top of Android 14 and completely changes the look and vibe of it. So for instance, the Google Discover feed has been replaced with just a bunch of widgets. You've now got an iOS style control center which you yank down from the right side of the screen. And you've got quite a few bonus features chucked on here as well, including the very dramatic game space. Indeed. This acts as a kind of shortcut to all of your games, and you can tweak various features to boost the performance, etc. But more about all the gaming shenanigans in a bit when I bang on about the performance. And some of these extras are pretty good, but core blimey, you get a lot of crapware bunged on the Techno Pova 6 Pro. The likes of Aha Games, sure Alan Partridge would approve. T-Sports Visha Player, Wow FM, just like what is any of this stuff? And if you're expecting years and years of OS and security updates, well, maybe don't. But Tecno has at least been rather generous with the storage, 256 gigs shoved on the Povo 6 Pro. And impressively, that is actually expandable via micro SD, and you've also got space on top of that for 2 SIM cards. Now these days you can expect even quite budget-friendly smartphones to come packing a decent display. What you got here is a 6.78-inch AMOLED panel. It's certainly spacious and yet still reasonably crisp with a Full HD Plus resolution. And even though the likes of Netflix and other streaming services report no HDR capabilities here, you've still got respectable contrast with nice deep blacks and vivid, vibrant colour reproduction too. No issues with the viewing angles and only a dinky wee selfie cam orifice intruding on the action when you go full screen. And that refresh rate maxes out at 120Hz. As you can see, it's a dynamic refresh rate, so it scales up and down depending on what you're up to. Or you can manually set it to 60, 90 or 120Hz. And you've also got yourself a respectable stereo speaker setup here, complete with Dolby Atmos support. Let's just boost up the old volume, show off what you get.
That is a wee bit disappointing that when you first boot up the Honor Magic V2 Porsche Edition, it doesn't spaff out a load of obnoxiously loud revving noises.
So as you can hopefully hear, they're pretty loud when you max out that volume, but it doesn't get all crinkly, distorted, nasty, anything like that. Now, for the performance, well, what you've got stuffed inside of the Povo 6 Pro is MediaTek's Dimensity 6080 chipset, and that's backed by 12 gigs of lovely RAM. And it's not exactly the most powerful setup around, despite the fact the Povo 6 Pro is positioned as a phone for gamers. If you're a stats nerd, you can see they're not particularly awe-inspiring benchmark results in the old Geekbenches. And while the likes of Genshin Impact and more demanding fare will run technically on the Povo 6 Pro, you probably won't want to bump the graphics up beyond the lowest settings because it will become quite a juddery affair. Even on the medium settings, I did notice quite a lot of frame rate drops, not even particularly when the action was super intense. So yeah, you'll probably want to stick to the likes of PUBG, Free Fire, Call of Duty, stuff that doesn't lean quite so hard on that processor and guzzle the memory quite so greedily. That said though, at least after gaming on Genshin Impact for well over an hour, the Povo 6 Pro still remains refreshingly cool. That's no doubt helped along by the vapor chamber, the thermal gel and the rest of the cooling setup. And of course, yes, you've got all those trouser-rousing gaming features, including the performance mode, the usual notifications blocking. You can bypass the charging if you've plugged in the Povo 6 Pro to keep it powered up while you're gaming. So plenty of stuff to piddle about with. One of the areas where the Povo 6 Pro 5G really excels is the battery life, because somehow Tecno has managed to cram a 6,000 mAh capacity cell inside of that admittedly fairly sizable frame. And the result is that you can play games, you can stream videos and music, you can mess around with the camera for hours and hours on a single charge before it's finally drained. This thing should happily last you a good couple of days between charges unless you really hammer it. And even when it does finally bite the dust, we got 70 watt wired charging, so it doesn't actually take that long to fill up that voluminous battery, although of course no wireless charging as you'd expect from a more budget-friendly device. And rather handily, you can also use the Povo 6 Pro as a portable battery pack. So if somebody else needs their phone charger and you've got an accessory that is running out of battery, just plug it in like so. And as you can see, the bugger is charging right up. So let's end this rather lovely Tecno Povo 6 Pro unboxing with a squint at the cameras. And my god, this arse is so mucky. Now what we have slapped on the back end here is a 108 megapixel primary shooter. You can shoot at that full 108 megapixel resolution if you want to, otherwise it uses 9-in-1 pixel binning to brighten up shots in lower light. And of course you've got the usual filters and variety of camera modes, quite a few to choose between. And it does include a full-on pro mode if you want to tinker with the likes of the ISO, the white balance, the autofocus. Although no option to shoot in RAW format, sadly. You've also got the obligatory portrait mode where you can tinker with the likes of a beauty mode, slim down your face and enlarge your eyes, do all kinds of weird stuff. And you can tweak the bokeh style effect as well, really boost that blurriness. And yes, good old Super Night mode as well for when things get proper dingy. And here's just a small selection of sample shots that I snapped with the Tecno Povo 6 Pro around the old homestead the last 24 hours. It's a fairly simple shooter, don't expect stunning results or anything, but it can do the job as long as the lighting isn't particularly CAC, and even when the lighting is CAC, that super night mode does actually help to brighten things up if you and your subject can remain perfectly still. And you may have spied it's a triple lens setup here on the back end, but don't get too excited. We're talking basic depth and macro sensors here. And then last up front, you've got a 32 megapixel selfie shooter. You do actually have a built-in LED flash as well. They really can't get enough of their lights, can they? And you can not only boost the brightness, but you can also make it quite warm as well to really give your skin a little bit of actual tone, which God knows I need. And again, here's just a handful of selfies that I actually bothered to take. I'm not the world's biggest selfie fan, as regular viewers will know, but even in low light, you've got the super night mode as well as that LED flash, so it'll certainly give you some snaps that aren't too murky and CAC. And if you're shooting a bit of video using that front-facing selfie cam, for instance, a bit of Skype and Zoom and Teams and whatever, where you can actually capture up to 2K resolution footage with it. As you can see, image stabilization not fantastic, so you'll want to not move your arm around too much. But the audio pickup's perfectly fine, and it certainly does the job. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is the literally flashy Tecno Pova 6 Pro 5G. You've got some good features in here, including a spacious AMOLED display. Of course, the highlight is naturally that 6,000 mAh capacity battery. In other areas, pretty standard stuff. iOS is quite a heavy launcher, and the performance not particularly bowel-churningly impressive. It'll play the likes of Genshin, but only just. You're definitely best off with your PUBGs and your Free Fires. But anyway, that's what I reckon of the Tecno Pova 6 Pro 5G. It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do check out my unboxings and reviews with dozens of other smartphones that have launched in February. It's been quite a busy 2024 so far. Your Uncle Spurt, not gonna lie, bloody knackered I am. Anyway, have a cracking rest of the week. Plug, subscribe, ding that notifications bell, all the usual YouTube guff, and have yourselves a wonderful... Did I already say that? This is how brain dead I am, kiddies. Love you!